Hello, Internet. It's time for another Wednesday's cereal. So I decided to take on the comic book Aesthete Eisner comic book challenge. And by the way, Aesthete, a person who has or affects to have a special appreciation of art and beauty. Learn something new every day. Anyways, he has challenged us to look at various Eisner Awards and their winners and runner-ups of various years. I decided to take a couple examples from 2009. Why 2009? Because that's the year I started this channel, so I thought it'd be good to look at what was winning around that time. It was kind of interesting to me what was running at that time, because to me now it seems old. Yay! So one of the categories that I think has one of the more interesting implications to me is best continuing series. Mostly because that's saying like something special is happening that year with even just the comics nominated. And that's kind of part of what I like about comics, and them kind of pulling out, not just the story that always has been, but something going on kind of in the moment. That was cool. Whereas, there are short stories, Best Writer of the Year, which is a bit more, Best Artist of the Year, I think it's a little more straightforward than New Writer for some reason. Limited series, new series, these have a bit more tangible qualities, but the continuing series, there's something particularly special about that idea to me. So what was up in 2009 was All-Star Superman, Fables, Naki Yorosaka's Monster, which I think is just normally referred to as Monster, which is a very great series. I think that's one people here are less familiar with. It's about a doctor in this hospital, and there's all these creepy and crazy things that go on. It's one of the more renowned manga. I've only seen a few episodes of the anime myself, but I'm very curious to see more of that. But then there was Thor by Michael J. Straczynski, which no way it was going to win against the rest in that lineup. And then Yuzaki Jimbo, which is interesting to me. That's a comic that I've always been kind of afraid to get into, but I keep hearing things about it, and I think it might be worth digging into. I don't know too many people that have actually read into it that I've talked to, but I'm curious. But anyways, 2009, what won was All-Star Superman. And it kind of feels obvious now. Also, interesting to note, continuing series. This only ran for 12 issues. And I don't know if that was apparent at the time or not. But it was kind of interesting to me, because in my mind, this is a mini-series. So the fact that they put it under continuing series, somewhat interesting, maybe somewhat unfair, especially to Monster, and how they compare a manga that's being translated and brought over, and how they count that for the timing. And then versus something like Fables. And gosh, at that point, Fables had to be pretty darn strong as well. So all great contenders, so many great comics in there, except for Thor. And, yeah, I don't know. I just found that really interesting. Nothing wrong with this pick. This is one of the greats, right? So, there we are. By the way, at the time, best writers up were Joe Hill, Straczynski, Mariko Takazaki, Matt Wagner, and Bill Willingham. And I find that somewhat interesting for whatever reason. I just think that says something about the moment at the time. Because whereas, some of those are relatively bigger names. Those aren't people that I think we'd see as much years come, years go, and I feel like there are more ubiquitous points throughout these awards. And, yeah, just something about that says something to me. By the way, Bill Willingham won, so there we are on that. What I think was something of what was robbed in the 2009 was Best New Series. What was up was Air, by G.W. Wilson, Echo by Terry Moore, Invincible Iron Man, Matt Fraction, Madame Xanadu, Matt Wagner, and Amy Reeder, Hometown Girl, woohoo, and Unknown Soldier. Now, straight up, Unknown Soldier's out. I don't know why it was on there. That shouldn't have been up for any awards. But Air is an interesting entry. I think that's a really strong comic. There's a lot of cool new ideas, but I never think it quite resonated with tons of people. Like, I think it's an interesting thing if you're really into comics, and especially the Vertigo side of things. Something to check out more of. Certainly not your standard fare, but maybe not as strong. Invincible Iron Man. At that moment, I can see it. I remember that first chunk of Invincible Iron Man. It was relatively strong for about a year, and it just fell apart after that. But at that time, I get it. But, Echo. Oh my gosh, how can you not give that to Echo? I mean, coming off of Strangers in Paradise, and now we have Echo, this tale that's dealing with, nuclear war and just a strong characterization of something, and something that we weren't seeing from anywhere else, coming from Abstract Studios, proving to be kind of a force to be reckoned with at this point. I think there was so much more going on with Echo, because this was before the Image boom hit. Like, this book existing, coming out, and having the resonance it did, I just, how, as the Eisners, the people trying to push awards to say, this is what's great in comics, there's so much fervor coming with Echo at that point, and the fact that they didn't give it there, I think it was robbed. So there's that. So I think this is a really interesting exercise to put yourself through. Please take a look, and I think our comic book aesthete here has a great point. There aren't too many reputable comic book award shows going on. Obviously, I have a bit of interest in the YouTube comic book awards put on by Comic Uno and whatnot. And I think that's kind of cool to see people in the community and what they think's hot. There's a few things, like I know IGN puts out some awards each year for comics and whatnot, but I'm coming around on IGN in a few ways in the way I haven't for damn near a decade now. But the Eisners are the Eisners, It's among the most prestigious awards that are given out in the comics world, and it is kind of a shame that we don't have a little fervor, a little, like, hangouts at the night and try to, guess and, debate and talk about and kind of recapture, a year's worth of excitement with comics. So maybe he's starting something here. Maybe he'll get the community a little more into it, and hopefully he'll be on it when the season comes around again next time the awards just happened, and hopefully we can I'll take part a bit more. I think this was really cool, and kudos on him for doing this. So please, if you're one of my 3 viewers or whatever, feel free to take this and run with it, and please leave a comment for me and him. I'll leave a link to his video for this in my description, so you can let us know that you did it, because I'm sure we'd both be just fascinated to hear what you have to say. So have a good one.